Times have changed since 1989. Well, here in Zhuhai for the final round of the year, but also of the championship. It's my first time to China, and I've got to say I'm very impressed with the place. People are extremely friendly. There is a definite vision of the new China emerging out of the old China. Old buildings right alongside new skyscrapers. This Zhuhai circuit's been here for about 10 years now, and you've got that feeling. You can see that there's a few bumps arrived onto the circuit with some of the cold winters, I'm sure, that have been round about here. But the people are working very hard to make sure that it's going to be a good race weekend. The track itself is basically quite slow. It's got a lot of slow hairpins followed by big long straights, so you know, low speed grip's going to be critical, traction's going to be critical. The high speed stuff, like here for example, the last corner, is very quick, but the majority of them in fact are flat out, so I don't think you're going to really see a lot of high speed performance, if you like. But this one is important because there's a big long straight up to it, quick corner, and then a big long straight down to turn 1. What I've seen so far though is that the weather forecast is going to be tricky. Today is nice and dry, 24 degrees, you know, beautiful all day. Tomorrow is meant to be the same, but Friday, when it gets into the official sessions, Saturday qualifying and Sunday race, they're meant to be wet. So anyway, I think at the moment we've got to do our best preparation possible. I'm out here just having a look. We've ran the circuit a couple of times, Tom Dindo and I, and just having another look at this last corner to make sure that we get it all sorted out and do our preparation. So I better get back to it, and I'll speak to you all soon. Yesterday was dry when we had the unofficial testing, and it was basically quite a good day. We had 6 hours of running to get to know the circuit. The circuit is slow, much slower than I thought when I even walked round it. But then again, it's the same for everybody. But the rain came down at the end of yesterday and overnight, and the suggestion is that the weather forecast for the rest of the weekend is going to be a little bit similar. But we splished and splashed around today, ended up within 100th of the Peugeot, so it's all, I would say, just as it has been actually in the last couple of races, just the little tiny differences. So right now, honestly, I would prefer it to be dry for all the fans and everything else, but if it's wet, I can expect it to be very wet. So let's hope for tomorrow a wee bit of sunnier weather. Well, we qualified on the second row. It was a very interesting qualifying because it dried up as the session was going on. Tom went out, and unfortunately just as he went out on slick tyres, it started to rain, and so the second row wasn't necessarily a fair reflection of what I think our performance, or any of the performance, was, because I don't think we saw the true potential of anyone. But that's where it is, and right now we're a few minutes away from the start of the last race of the season in Zhuhai. Well, certainly the race itself produced a lot more excitement, I think, than what most people expected. But then again, if you look back at some of the battles we've had over the last few years, and especially this season as well, at Petit just a little while ago, and then at the beginning of the race at Silverstone, then it's maybe not such a surprise. But when we got into it, we basically gambled quite a lot in the strategy. As you'll have seen, we started from the second row of the grid after a wet and dry qualifying, but with the rain in the lead up to it and all the sessions, it meant that we didn't really have much of a clue what we needed for this track. It's very different to other ones, so it was, like I say, a bit of a gamble. But we gambled, I would say, in the right direction as it's turned out. The other car with Dindo and Roman went in a slightly different direction, and they were very quick at the beginning of the race, managed to get past Tom and also to get up into second place. But then Tom came into his own in the second stint. At the end of that stint though, we realised we were probably going to have to change strategy if we had a chance of winning. So when I got into the car, we switched to a one-stop strategy, which proved to be very aggressive, but it's also very fast and put us back into contention a little bit more. As it turned out though, it got a bit heated towards the end, and there's a safety car came out which kinda was a little bit of a handcuff for us. safety car wasn't executed in the way that you would normally expect, but it dropped the 30-second lead we had, which wasn't a true 30-second lead because of the way the pit stops would run out. But it brought it back to 13 seconds, and then Tom did a sterling job to keep it there with slightly more used tyres. The way it turned out though at the end, with the two power shows working together, one which actually caused the safety car in the end with Bourdais, and then Sarrazin just holding Tommy Boy up a little bit before Sarrazin came into the pits, was pretty much the deciding, slightly annoying and frustrating way. Personally, I have to say, I think it lost a little bit of the edge of the race that all the fans could have had at the end, and slightly tainted it and sour taste in the mouth at the moment. But we'll get over that. You know, it's 2010. I think was what we'd say a character building year maybe. We didn't have all of the final results we would have had, we'd like to have had, or expected, or even have had in the past. But we certainly showed that we'll get in there and we'll fight and we'll do everything that we physically can to win within the rules and regulations. And so it was really a season where I think we go away, we lick our wounds a little bit. We remember that we won at Le Mans, a superb 1-2-3, and we come out in 2011 fighting. So looking back at 2010, that's one thing, but now the time's to look forward to 2011.